dedicated to southern and eastern Kentucky. This is WYNT Mountain News at 5:30.
Good evening, I'm Steve Hensley. The White House just rolled out new information on requirements to get more Americans vaccinated. Around 78% of adults in the U.S. have at least gotten their first dose, while officials could soon review whether Pfizer's vaccine is suitable for children. CBS's Skylar Henry has the latest from the White House.
President Biden doubted the effectiveness of COVID-19 vaccine requirements while touring a Chicago area construction site that's implementing steps to get more employees vaccinated.
You're helping us beat back COVID-19.
His trip comes as the White House says the requirements are driving up vaccination rates in the nation's workforce, helping up to 5 million Americans get back to work, and the mandates have support from many businesses, unions, and a majority of the public.
We've made real progress across the board. More than 185 million Americans are now fully vaccinated, more than 75% of eligible Americans.
As White House officials work to get more Americans to roll up their sleeves and get vaccinated, Pfizer is asking the FDA for emergency use authorization for its vaccine for children ages 5 through 11. 8-year-old Sebastian Prybal took part in Pfizer's clinical trial.
It makes me very happy that I'm helping other kids get the vaccine.
Studies show the heavy toll the pandemic is taking on children. They currently make up more than a quarter of new COVID cases. And new research finds more than 140,000 children have lost a caregiver to COVID-19.
Look, I know the vaccination requirements are tough medicine. Unpopular with some, politics for others. But they're life-saving. They're game-changing for our country.
The FDA is promising quick action on Pfizer's vaccine for children, saying a panel will meet later this month to debate the evidence. Skylar Henry, CBS News, the White House.
The children's vaccine is a lower dose version. Pfizer says its study found no serious side effects. A reality facing 40 million people across the country, everything they own sitting outside of the place they called home because they could not pay rent. This is the snowball of issues facing those who fight to climb out of a hole brought on by the pandemic. It's something Sergeant John Furlong sees every day. Furlong works evictions for the Jefferson County Sheriff's Office. He says the job is tough, but once an eviction is court-ordered, it's something that must be done.
Sometimes it's very hard for us too, especially when children are involved. That becomes really hard. Kids are asking you why they have to leave.
Officers say there are several cases where they find animals dead and alive as people have left them behind. Kentucky's junior Senator Rand Paul tells us he wants to make a change on how testing is done on animals, along with other issues facing our country. WYNT's Dakota Makris sat down with the senator this morning.
Senator Rand Paul introduced his FDA Modernization Act on Thursday.
This doesn't completely end it. It will give it an alternative. Right now, the law that was written in the 1930s says that you have to do animal testing before you get to human testing.
The act would end that FDA mandate the senator mentioned. He says this will help find alternative ways to test on animals.
I've actually been involved where animals are used. And so this doesn't forbid it. If there's a way that you can get to the safety issue without having to sacrifice animals, let's do it.
I asked the senator what other options people can use instead of testing on animals.
When you test things for efficacy or safety on an animal, the animal isn't as predictive as some other tests are. So there are other tests where you do it in a petri dish, in a lab.
As Washington lawmakers work to settle the debate on increasing the debt ceiling, Paul says he will not vote to increase it.
Raising the debt ceiling is something that has to happen legally in order for the government to buy more debt. I think those who want to spend more should raise the debt ceiling.
But he would like to see a balanced budget.
I've actually supported a bill that says we should prioritize the interest, and the interest should be paid up front before we get to anything else. Then you'd never have a risk of default, and you could say to Wall Street, we're not going to default ever.
As the school year continues and we inch closer to colder months, I asked Paul if he thinks COVID-19 vaccines should be required for students who are eligible.
Absolutely not. If you look at the statistics on COVID, if you're 85 years old, you have a 10,000 times greater chance of dying than a 10-year-old. So it's a different disease for young people than it is for the elderly.
He says vaccination should be left up to parents and their children. Dakota Makris, WYMT Mountain News.
The senator announced recently his Senate campaign raised more than $4 million in the past quarter.
Dreary skies for some to start off this Thursday, just my days of the week out there. But we're starting to see some sunshine start to return as we head into the finish of the work week. US 119 camera at Pine Mountain, sunshine on the roadway there. So yes, we're already starting to see the return of sunshine. Buffalo Mountain camera here in Perry County. Nice deep blue sky, beautiful sunshine. We're up to 81 right now here in Perry County. Those clouds off in the distance. Wise? Different story. They just ticked down to 68, 76 Prestonsburg, 77 in Jackson, and now 74 in Pikeville as we start to see some more of those clouds diminish. That's where we're starting to see the increase in some of that sunshine out there. We look at pinpoint Doppler this afternoon. Few showers in our far western counties, places like Laurel into Whitley County, just west of I-75. Those storms will parallel the interstate. They should not cross over until they cross the Rockcastle County line there, and a few more in the parts of Wayne and Pulaski County. But for the most part, we are actually in decent shape as we head through the remainder of tonight. So that satellite and radar, you see everything moving south to north. So a few showers remain possible, but not everybody sees one as we head into the nighttime hours. Keep that WYMT weather app handy, though. You will need it as we head into the overnight with those temperatures getting down into those middle 60s as we head through the overnight with those showers remaining possible. I'll have the latest on when we could see even more showers move on out of the forecast tomorrow coming up in just a bit. Steve?
Evan, thank you. A trial began yesterday for the first of 4 former Kentucky deputy jailers who are accused of an inmate's death back in 2018. Former Boyd County Detention Center Sergeant Brad Roberts is charged with manslaughter. Additional charges include criminal abuse and the death of 40-year-old Michael Moore. Court documents reveal jurors saw videos showing snippets of the last hours of Moore's life. The video showed him being thrown into a chair, body slammed on the floor, and falling from the top bunk of his bed. Investigators said Moore was found unresponsive at the jail hours after he was brought in. A former Kentucky lawyer is filing a lawsuit against Facebook, accusing it of committing fraud by suppressing his posts containing conservative viewpoints. Eric Dieters is a former lawyer in Ohio and northern Kentucky. Dieter filed his lawsuit after he said he discovered his posts were not being properly displayed to the public. He believes his posts were targeted even if he paid the social media company to boost them. Dieters retired from practicing law after his license to practice was revoked in Kentucky. U.S. Army officials say a Fort Campbell soldier is being charged with killing his wife. Fort Campbell officials said that 33-year-old Sergeant First Class Joseph Santiago is charged with murder in the death of his pregnant wife, Megan Santiago. Additional charges include killing his wife's unborn child. No further information was released. 67 rescues. That's how many Wolfe County Search and Rescue have responded to so far this year. In a normal year, the team responds to around 50. During the past 10 years, the gorge has seen a steady increase of visitors, but before beginning one's journey, it's important for visitors to know their fitness levels and do some research before hiking the Red River Gorge trails.
So if you get out there and something happens, darkness falls on you quicker than what you expected, carry a flashlight, a way to make a shelter if needed, if the weather turns bad. Make sure your cell phone's charged up, and we also recommend to carry, an extra battery pack for your mobile device. So if you do get out there and find yourself in trouble, you've got a way to charge that phone up if you need to be able to call for assistance.
The team hopes more people come out to enjoy the gorge this fall, but keep safety in mind. This morning, lawmakers heard from experts about what kind of disruptions they saw during the pandemic in 2020 and what can be done to help make up for supply chain issues. Dave Maples with the Kentucky Cattlemen's Association says that increasing the level of partnerships and the number of facilities to raise and then produce meat in the Commonwealth could help the supply chain.
If I sell a cow at a stockyard today, that cow's got to drive a minimum of 500 miles before she's processed. And then it comes back 500 miles. I think our food supply chain has got to take note of that.
Officials also placed an emphasis on local when it comes to farms, food, and filling shelves here in the Commonwealth. The first Knott County Youth Outdoor Camp event kicked off today in a partnership with the Kentucky Department of Fish and Wildlife. The event is being held at the Mine-Made Adventure Park, hosting a limit of 25 children ages 9 to 15. The event will feature tree stand safety, side-by-side safety, survival and first aid, gun safety, and hunting safety. Knott County Judge Executive Jeff Dobson says they are already planning to expand.
We want to get a little more involvement with the maybe the lake, do a little boulder education, learn them some boulder skills, along with their hunting skills and outdoor survival safety skills that they'll be learning here this weekend.
The camp will continue until Saturday. Dobson says they encourage parent participation. At the 40th Annual Jenny Wiley Festival, organizers are being sensitive to the needs of others by adding a sensory tent. That tent, which is dark inside and cooled with AC, is a new addition to the festival in Prestonsburg. The tent gives children or adults with sensory overload a place to decompress and relax while at the event. But Festival Chairman James Allen says it is for anybody to use if needed.
If that's for anybody to use, if their children are getting a little bit too hyper and they want a place just to go sit and relax, they can go over there. We have fans set up. We've got, I think there's some beanbag chairs and stuff in there, just a place for them to go to relax.
This is not the tent's first appearance after being used in July at the Ride with a Pal event at Archer Park in Prestonsburg. We'll have more from Allen at the Jenny Wiley Festival coming up at 6. But next at 5:30, it's the power of peas. How peas are changing the food industry by providing the latest trend of plant-based meat products.
I'd be willing to give it a try. We got more sunshine in our future, along with above average temperatures. We'll have the latest straight ahead.